Okay, so going a little further with a little extra time I have. Just got home and I'm sitting in the car. So as long as the little ones don't notice that I got home and come running out here going, "Mommy!" and jumping in the car with me, I'll go as much as I can before I go inside and get my night shift started in the house. So chapter 3, Addicted to Monsters, part 2. So here I am now in Ardmore, my second time sneaking out. And I'm not going to justify what I did. Of course, these were bad teenage mistakes. But I will say that the punishment and the aftermath, it was never something that was appropriate for the things that I was doing. That is something that I'm certain of. So I'm senior in high school. Almost always on the honor roll, pretty decent grades, knew what I wanted to do with my life, or had a general idea. By this time, I had actually wound up getting a full scholarship to study music at the only HBCU in that area, which was really cool. I was totally unintentional, though. I did not want to go to college, and that was something else that was kind of a source of contention. Like, the choice was you either go to the military or you go to college, but you have to get out. I chose the college scholarship because at least now I kind of had more of a solid plan of something to do, even though I never ever wanted to be a music teacher. That was all that they had. So anyway, I had what I wanted to do, and then I also had, now I've got a college scholarship because of some pageant that I did that I also didn't want to do, but hey, it kind of worked out. So I'm saying this to say that I wasn't, just some reprobate kid. I was always intelligent. I always knew what my passions were. I always had an idea. I always kind of knew what I wanted to do. At that age, you don't have everything figured out, though. And at that age, it's very appropriate that your friends and other kids and partying is your life. You're a teenager. You get to be like that. So really big party happening. Really important for me to go. All my friends are going. He tells me I can't go. I'm like, whatever, F that. So I go. Again, not a wise choice, but I did it. And I stayed out all night. And I don't even think it dawned on me. So when I got back, it just happened to be that when I got back, it was during church. He seems to think that I kind of planned it that way. I really didn't. I didn't have much of a plan. I just knew that I didn't want to leave until everybody else was leaving and going back to their places. And so that's what it was. So Sunday morning, I get back home. We lived in the church parsonage. I still don't know what parsonage really means, but basically it is a church. It's a home that's usually connected to the church or right next door to the church that the church owns, that the pastor and pastor's family lives in. So my house is literally right next door to the church. There's our house, the church parsonage, and there's the church, and then there's a funeral home and a barbershop. Like, everything is like right there. This is another just really, really little town. So some people saw that I was everything that you do. Like, you couldn't even fart in these tiny towns without everybody knowing it and everybody saying something, like, no matter what. So of course, word, travels through the church that somebody saw me coming home, and apparently he was told, or he said that somebody told him while he was in the pulpit. So I'm getting home and just kind of getting myself together. I think I probably went into the church, and then church is over. My dad doesn't say anything to me. He just says, "Get in the car." And I'm thinking to myself, "Get in the car" are never, ever good words, ever. So I didn't want to. There was some back and forth. I got in the car, and we're driving. I don't know where we're going. He drops me off at a children's shelter, and he just leaves me there. By this time, like, none of these things faze me anymore. I remember being at this children's shelter, and I think I stayed for a couple of weeks because I went to school from there. I had like a regimen from there. I went to a football game. We did outings and stuff like that. We went to Walmart, this and that. I think I was I'm 17 years old. I'm about to graduate high school. I remember talking to some of the other kids and thinking, man, this is kind of restrictive, but it was so structured. It was so structured. The meals, the time, the regimen, all the people there spoke to you with respect, like you were a human being. I wasn't there for long, but and it was peaceful. There were some kids in there that were really chaotic. I mean, of course, it was some sort of like maybe a group home or something for bad kids or whatever, or maybe for kids who just didn't have another place to be. But the majority of the kids there were not problematic. that I, at least not with me. And I got to be honest, I've never said this before. I felt I felt like I could start to breathe and get a sense of calmness and a sense of control. I really appreciated the fact that it was structured and it wasn't chaotic. And and the authorities in that place were not mean. And then I remember having some conversations with, I don't know, I guess the adults in there, because at this age, you got to be thinking about things. I remember having a couple of counseling sessions. I remember hearing about all the type of like state services and stuff that kids get to transition into being an adult. And I was thinking, okay, this, he left me here, and this may actually work out much better for me. And I'm going to be getting some advice and stuff from people that I actually want to hear it from, because there's mutual respect. My parents were not dumb people, and they probably had a lot of good advice to give. But if you're abusing someone, there's a scripture about this, I guess, about like, what is it, like dirty water or foul and bitter sweet water at the same spout, or whatever that crap is. It's interesting, all the different scriptures that people will use, kind of like, and load it up in their gun as an arsenal, like pow pow, to shoot it at you. But the majority of them probably don't even live by those scriptures. So there's something that has to do with that. But it makes sense. Like, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you are dogging me out, talking down on me, putting your hands on me, calling me a hoe, calling me stupid, calling me ditzy, these are all things that my father would call me, then why the hell would I want to hear life advice from you? Which he never really gave me much of that either. Like, other people got it, I didn't. Mm-hmm. And even when I tried to ask for it, as I was in my adult years, nothing. He would stonewall me. I didn't get financial advice. I didn't get any advice from him. And the few times that he would try to, you could say, advise me, it wasn't advising me. It was just going off on me and just kind of like almost talking to me like as if I should know these things already. No, I don't. You don't know it unless you're taught it. So yeah, any even attempts that both of my parents would make to try to advise me was so unhealthy. It was not an environment or a space that was conducive for me to even learn and grow from them. A couple weeks later, I recall my father came to take me from that place, and he said, "We're going to lunch." And I'm like, okay. We went to lunch. It was really weird and awkward. And I remember the feeling of, I felt like I should just apologize to him. And if I just apologize to him and just agree to be obedient, all this will go away. That was kind of always the sentiment. If something happened and, my dad kind of blew up or whatever, no matter what, he's never wrong in any of it, and the other person has to acquiesce. I know that we had a meeting. He took me in front of someone who said he was a judge. I don't know if this guy actually was a judge or not. I've never seen a black man judge ever in the state of Oklahoma. I just know we were in some black man's office, I think at the courthouse or near the courthouse, some tall black man. I don't recall his name. I was told that this man was a judge. We were in his office to have a meeting. But here's the thing, though. If you're a judge and we're having some sort of a hearing or meeting in your office, I never saw any of that paperwork, and I've looked myself up on OSCN several times. There was never a case or anything like that, so I call cap. But either way it goes, I'm in this man's office, and the conversation was just as short as, you can either decide to stay with the state and go back to the group home, or you can decide to go home and, be with your dad, and you can have this and you can have that, and he's got, they'll help you with college and all this stuff that they did not do, and you can be a part of your family again. The pressure was to choose to go home and to say, basically, I'll be obedient and I'll go back home. That was kind of the pressure. And versus being being a ward of the state, they made it seem like if I went back there, it was just so like shameful. So I decided, I'll be a good girl and I'll go back home. That was it. No counseling, no therapy, no, conversation, actually nothing. It was just, I'll be a good girl and go back home. So that's that. All right. Now we're at 9.5 minutes, and I will go to part 3.